Hey everyone, today I want to talk to you about a company that has been a staple in the Midwest for nearly 2 decades, Raber Portable Storage. If you're in need of quality storage solutions, look no further. Whether it's a barn, shed, or garage, Raber has the largest selection of handcrafted storage structures in all of Indiana. Each building is made with care by experienced craftsmen, ensuring you get a product that not only looks great, but is built to last. And guess what? They stand by their workmanship with a fantastic 5-year warranty. What sets Raber apart? It's their commitment to customer satisfaction. From the moment you step into one of their many locations, their friendly team is ready to help solve your storage issues. Plus, they deliver up to 250 miles from their main office in Montgomery, Indiana. So if you live in Ohio, Kentucky, or Illinois, you need to give them a call. Now, let me tell you about the heart behind Raber Storage. It all started back in 2000 when they began building sheds full time. The founder grew up helping his father construct barns with just gas-powered skill saw and a lot of determination. Today, Raber has grown into a full-fledged operation with dedicated staff, but that personal touch still remains. They treat every customer like family. So if you're ready to find perfect storage solution, visit Raber Portable Storage. They have Indiana locations in Bloomington, Seymour, Vincent, Spencer, Corydon, West Lafayette, Sellersburg, and Kokomo, and even Tilton, Illinois. So you'll never have to go too far for quality storage. And hey, we got a deal for you today. If you mention you heard it from the podcast, Raber's will give you $150 off your barn purchase. That's right. You save $150 off your purchase by just mentioning you heard it here on the podcast. So check out their website at raberportablestorage.com. That's raberportablestorage.com to learn more and find your nearest location. Trust me, when you choose Raber, you're not just buying a shed, you're investing in quality craftsmanship and service you can rely on. This show is brought to you by Zach's Creamery in Montgomery or Jasper, Indiana. Zach's Creamery was founded with creating a pleasant and memorable experience in mind. They strive to serve the most exceptional homemade ice creams and signature coffees in an exuberant atmosphere. Zach's has something for everyone, as he features several items for those with special dietary needs such as vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, and no sugar-added, keto, diabetic friendly. Visit them today in Montgomery or Jasper, Indiana. You can dine in or drive through, but whichever way you choose, do not forget you can order online and have it waiting for you when you get there. Order online at zaxcreamery.com. That's Zach's Creamery, Z-A-X Creamery.com, and stop in at Montgomery or Jasper, Indiana. Is how you spend, save, and invest your hard-earned cash glorifying the Lord? Well, at Dominion Wealth Strategists, they believe that your finances should reflect your faith. As a distinctly reformed full-service wealth management firm, they are here to help you steward God's gifts wisely. From comprehensive financial planning to wealth-building strategies rooted in biblical principles, they offer their core services with no financial barrier to entry. Whether you're planning for retirement, building generational wealth, or just getting started, Dominion Wealth Strategists are here to guide you every step of the way. From baptism to burial, Dominion has you covered. Visit them at reformed.money. That's reformed.money, and take the first step toward financial stewardship that honors Christ. That's reformed.money. Please visit them today. Hello and welcome to the TC Cook Show, brought to you by PH Media. We are here at the Fight, Laugh, Feast Network Conference, and I have with me the one and only Squirrelly Joe Morris from Squirrelly Joe Coffee. Joe, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so everywhere I go, every conference I ever show up at, and even when I throw my own, he shows up, right? But
Whether you want me or not.
that's not true. Yeah, we want to. Yeah, so he is out here and he is selling coffee. He has created a business inside of his family and at home, and has literally taken this thing to incredible heights. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for supplying the mission with fuel of coffee. We really appreciate all.
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
no problem. I love it.
It's been great. So I want to dive in a little bit to Christians in business, right? What do you think distinctively sets apart or should distinctively set apart Christians who are in business, who are entrepreneurs, who are employees, any of the above?
Yeah, I mean, it's, if you listen to any of these speakers, it's really just living out what they're talking about is, we have our values, biblical principles, and, being unapologetic, literally putting those values and principles into the business as far as, product development, customer service, just everything that we promise that we're going to do, that we say, that we believe, all those things, just literally putting that into practice with our everyday business.
So what do you think and I go back to the 90s a lot with the Christian ichthus and everybody had it on the back of their car. And if
Yep.
you're a business, you put it in your logo and
Yep.
you did all this stuff, but yet it got a bad rap, right? Of shoddy service, shoddy business. Why do you think that was? And then what has changed? Because I do see a shift back to excellence, back to actually taking our principles and putting it into business and not just kind of lackadaisical doing it, right? But why do you think that happened at the beginning there?
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's almost gimmicky, I think, in a way, to just slap a Christian label on to anything, really. It doesn't matter if it's a business or a ministry or, if you say you stand for something and just because you have, a cross or an ichthus or whatever the symbolism you have attached to your business or your organization, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be living out those principles. So I think that's the biggest thing is, do we do what we say we're going to do? Do we believe what we say we believe? And do those, can you see the fruit of what we're saying, what we're advertising, what we're marketing, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think, it's just entrepreneurship's not for everybody.
That's right.
So if you're not really going to take it seriously and do everything that you should do, everything that you say you're going to do, and just, slap a logo or some sort of, symbol on there, but you don't actually live out those principles, then you're going to see those businesses that are just, they're not, doing what they say they're going to do.
Right. And I've noticed that secular Christian, it doesn't really matter as far as biblical principles lived out actually work.
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, like you talk about secular, I mean, there's so many good secular businesses out there where even if you don't agree with what they believe or what their values are, they make a promise and the good ones keep their promise, whether or not we agree with them or not.
Right.
So, business is one of those things where there are timeless business principles that regardless if you're a Christian business or not, still apply.
Yeah.
But then for us, I think there's a little bit more responsibility on us because living out biblical values in this culture and this time that we live in is difficult.
Yeah.
So taking a stand for things, you don't necessarily have to be outspoken about everything.
Right.
But the people at these conferences, they hold me to a standard. I've got a lot of customers here and they expect a certain level of service, expect me to, believe what I say I believe.
Right.
And honestly, they hold me accountable because sometimes my marketing, like one of the guys in the Business Makers Conference was talking about, kind of finding that line and, maybe going over the line a little bit, being a little controversial sometimes. And there's a time and a place for that, but we're fallen humans. We can definitely do that wrong.
Right.
And I have done that wrong.
Right.
And when I do, my customers are like, hey, maybe that's not the best use of your marketing material.
Too far. Yeah.
And I appreciate it. Because it's
Right.
like, I can make mistakes too. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's I think one of the things and that I when we showed up for the Business Makers part of the conference, right, that I was gaining from that is, hey, I think Toby Sumter actually said it, and he said, listen, the core of our Christian faith is repentance. right?
Oh, yeah.
So in business, when you make a mistake,
Yep.
you repent,
Yeah.
you own it,
Yeah.
you fix it,
Right.
you change, and you move on.
Right.
Right.
And that's another part of, the business world is if I do make a mistake and people call me out on it and I do apologize and say, hey, we're going to do better, hopefully the grace and the forgiveness is there. Like, okay, we're still going to be customers. You made a mistake. Sometimes people do, sometimes people don't, but I would hope that we would extend some grace to people trying to, make their mark in the marketplace.
Right. So, it's interesting. I think about the famous viral thing of the CEO and the HR lady right at the Coldplay concert, right?
Yeah.
And how they tried to at first shame and hide themselves, right? Which I automatically went to Adam and Eve, right? When they sin, they try to hide themselves, right? And that made it even worse for them, right? And then they tried to like triple down and then get mad at Coldplay for doing what they do at every concert, right? And then even try to say, well, no, this isn't even an affair. And it's like, well, hold on, hold on. It sure looked like it to me, right? And so, you know what? They made a big mistake. Now there's still consequences sometimes to mistake. You might lose customers even though you say, hey, you know what? I made a mistake here. This was too far. This was this was that. And some people might say, yeah, but that was just far enough for us that we're not coming back.
Sure.
Right.
Yep.
And that's capitalism. That's their prerogative, right? They can do whatever, but that doesn't change the fact that your obedience to the forgiveness and repentance, right? Of, hey, I messed up or whatever. That's what a shipment's supposed to be there on Tuesday and it didn't show up till Thursday. Right. Hey, that was a mistake. Sorry. This happened, how can we make it right?
Yep.
And a lot of times what ends up happening when you own it, you actually gain a customer for life.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Oh, I see that all the time.
Yeah.
Because I get emails so one of the big things that we run into is, all of our merchandise is provided by Rowdy Christian.
Okay.
So third party. So we ship the coffee, but then the merch will ship, a week later or something so he can print the shirts. And I have that conversation a lot with customers is, hey, I got my coffee, but I didn't get my shirt. So it's like, so I'll send him an email almost right away if I can and just say, hey, the shirts will be there in a few days, just give it some time. And people are, thankful, like, oh, well, thanks for
replying
emailing real quick. And
right.
So it's like, people are pretty forgiving and people are pretty understanding with that sort of thing. But yeah, it's, again, I'm keeping my promise. It'll be there. You just got to give it a few more days.
But if you ran and hide and you're like, dude, I am tired. I'm not going to answer these emails. I'm not going to do this.
And that happens.
And then they show up a week later and they're like, I haven't heard from him. I haven't heard anything. Right. And those type of things. Right. Like that's this works across the board. I was listening to a podcast the other day, Joe, where it was a non-believer, foul mouth man. He was funny, but foul mouth guy. Right. And he owned a t-shirt printing company, and a lady had ordered some things from him for her husband's birthday, but they misplaced the shipment and it wasn't going to get there till 3 days after his birthday. Well, he looked and she lived 40 minutes away. And he's like, you know what? This lady was doing this for her husband's birthday.
Just drive it over there.
And so he just jumped in the car, knocked on the door, and she's like, who are you? And she's like, oh, I'm so-and-so with so, hey, I know your shipment's not going to be there. Go ahead and keep those. They're going to come, but I wanted to make sure your husband got this. And guess what? Every shirt she had to custom order, she always went to him.
Right.
And again, non-believer, it wasn't like he was trying to do this unto the Lord. It's just the fact that actually doing what you say is good business.
Right.
And God actually says, hey, let your yes be yes, let your no be no, right? He actually says, be truthful, right? Do not lie, do not steal, do not cheat. Yeah, that kind of makes good business process. Right? Oh, yeah. It's kind of interesting.
Right. And well, it's like, with business, you're setting up your systems, your processes, you get things dialed in as much as you can, but then there are those situations to where like, okay, there's a situation where it's gonna disrupt my system or my process, but at the same time, if I can serve that customer better, why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah.
So
I'll give you guys a for instance for Joe, right? So we live an hour away
About that.
from each other. Yeah. And I was putting on a conference, and at one, he texted me, he was mad because I didn't even let him know the conference was there. And
I wasn't mad, I was just disappointed.
That's, you know, your
That's
dad,
even worse,
you know
right?
how bad that is. And for me, I wasn't even thinking, I wasn't doing that, you know, and not only did he show up to the conference, by the way, and joined us, but he brought coffee. And he said, "Hey, I want to supply the coffee. I want to do this. And by the way, for your speakers, I want to make sure they go home with our Squirrelly Joe's coffee." And to me, I'll be honest, like that meant incredible to me, and it showed just your business practices. It showed just the man that you are, right? And it was exciting to see. So that's just one example from your life, from that, of just even going above and beyond, and actually going. Not only did you show up, but then you gave.
Yeah.
Right. You gave for people, right? And I've watched you do this all over, right? For a lot of people, a lot of things, and you've noticed that, yeah, maybe you won't get a customer out of it, but in general, you typically do, right?
Yeah.
Because you believe that, hey, if they taste my coffee, they're going to enjoy it.
Yep.
They're going to like it because I've worked the process. It's really good. It's this, it's that. I get good beans. I roast it, all that stuff, right? And so you believe in your product enough that if they just taste it,
Right,
they'll probably want it.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a good point, because one of the things that's really important to us is Christian conferences, you know, and, you know, in business, you're always trying to find, like, okay, how can I help outside of selling my product or my service? And so one of the things that we've settled on is helping Christian conferences make a better experience for the people who attend the conference and for the speakers and all that. So we have this conversation a lot where people will talk to me about, oh, we have this, you know, a conference at our church, and it's only going to be 50 people.
Right.
And they think that, like, I have this threshold of, you know, attendees.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
So, and I tell people, I'm like, I don't really care how big your conference is.
Right.
How many people are coming? We'd love to send you coffee.
Right.
And it doesn't matter to me if there's 1,000 people or there's 25 people. I don't really care. I just want to help the conference circuit. So
yeah, because this was the first time, and I wasn't expecting a lot of people, and we didn't have a whole bunch of people show up because first time and in fact, I'll be honest, I didn't really want a lot of people in the first one because I was trying to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And trying to figure out what the process would be better, and so I didn't reach out to anybody to bring coffee, right? I was just going to do Folgers, but I was right.
That's always a mistake.
That's always a mistake.
Always.
You are correct. And but everybody wants coffee, and they'll drink whatever's there. They might not like it, but they'll drink whatever's there.
Yep.
And so yeah, that's the thing. But it's such an incredible thing when you do have a business, and again, you weren't trying to sell. You didn't set up to sell. There wasn't even anything like that.
I just wanted to hang out with you guys.
We had a great time, and it was just, hey, I want to come, I want to serve, and I want to enjoy being with you guys. Right, that was all it was. And I think you actually probably got a couple sales out of the deal, and that's not what you came for. Nope. And when you have that heart and you have that about your business, yes, you have to sell things. You have to make money. The business has to be profitable. We're not saying that.
Yep.
But just serving.
Yep.
And actually what has turned in a good way in business is not only serving your clients well and figuring out how can we do this better for our clients, but also serving our employees well, right? Making it a good place for them. And because when you have employees, it's 100% discipleship.
Yep.
100%. And so whether you're the CEO or whether you're the guy who's been at the factory for years, if you've been at the factory for years and you do a good job, guess what? When they hire a new person on the same line, who are they going to send them to?
Yep.
Probably you, to train them in on that, right? That's discipleship. That's what that is. And so there's been a big switch in that. Gary Vee's been a push on that, right? And I wouldn't say he began it, but just saying, hey, it's time that we love each other, right? It's time that we love our employees. We treat them well. It's time that we love our customer and we quit thinking about ourselves, right?
Right. Yeah, they're not just cogs in a machine.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I only have one employee. He's, 17-year-old senior in high school. He's a homeschool kid. So, he comes 3 days a week, and he basically does 80% of my operation.
Wow.
And I'm at work. So I've got a full-time job. And so he shows up at, 8, 9 in the morning, and he just works all day with no supervision. So, I mean,
what a blessing.
Yeah, right. We trained him really well to make sure he could do it because no one's going to be there to look over his shoulder. And quality control is still there. I'm still looking over his work.
Sure.
But it's got to a point to where we found somebody who is literally the perfect fit, and it's a 17-year-old senior in high school. Basically,
I thought young people didn't want to work.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I mean, he puts his headphones on and he just works for 7-8 hours, and he does a fantastic job. So, yeah.
So if let's say there's a 21-year-old sitting here, and they come to you because they see you've got a business, they see you're running a business, and they say, Joe, I want to get into entrepreneurship. I want to be in business. I want to do something. What's some advice that you would give that 21-year-old who's just hungry, wanting to get out there and start his business journey?
Yeah. So the biggest thing really, so I've been in entrepreneurship for about 12 years now. So we owned a CrossFit gym for about 7 years. Then we've had Squirrelly Joe's for about 5 years. And the biggest thing is just get started. Go sell something.
Yeah.
And just figure it out, because it really is an experience thing. You can read all the business book, which I did before I opened my first business, and it does help you, but it doesn't prepare you for all the stuff you're going to encounter. So the biggest thing really is just get started. The most people are just afraid to pull the trigger and just go out and sell something, sell a product, sell a service, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter.
And until you have that sell, you actually don't have a business.
No.
Right. You have nothing.
You have nothing
a name, maybe.
Until you sell something. You do not have a business.
That's right.
Ideas are not businesses. A business plan.
I would own about 1,000 of businesses if ideas were businesses. Yeah.
So I mean, that's just just get started.
Yeah.
Just get started.
I love it. I was telling someone else that there's a guy on social media that's blown up, and I've just he pops up everywhere. So you got to watch it because he pops up. His name's Dan Martell.
Oh, I know.
And and one of the things that he literally says is you got to. Don't worry about the name. Don't worry about the logo. Don't even worry about LLC, all this stuff. Don't all that stuff. Yes, you're going to need, it's going to come, but you don't even know if it's going to work. You don't even know until money changes hands.
Right.
Until you actually sell something.
Right.
You have no idea if it's going to even work.
Yep.
And so why do all, and we get stuck sometimes in this upfront stuff, and maybe that's the kind of the fun part of just creating this logo and creating a name and LLC, and we get, well, I can't do it until I have this, and I can't do. He's like, no, stop. You don't have anything until you've sold something.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's our story with Squirrelly Joe's is, when we first started it, it was just a logo. I mean, we didn't have any type of marketing material. Our packaging was pretty ugly. I mean, we were just slapping a sticker on a bag.
Right.
And then once we realized, like, oh, this is something we want to continue to do, then we put the money in to do the branding, work with the branding company and all that. So, I mean, things take time, things take money, things take, planning and all that. But if you're afraid to just get started with that ugly label and that ugly bag, you're never going to get off the ground.
Right.
So like, don't be afraid of humble beginnings. You know? I think it was George Grant that said that yesterday, or
I've missed most of the talks. And
one of the speakers talked about
George's fantastic.
Yeah. They talked about humble beginnings. And it's just like, just get started,
right?
Figure it out. And one of the analogies in business that I hear from a lot of business guys is like, you're building the airplane in the air. And that is so true. It's like,
that is true.
You don't know what you're doing, but who cares?
And you're about to crash, and you tweak it so that way you can stay afloat and keep flying, right?
That's it.
That is a great analogy. That is a great, but don't get paralyzed by all of that upfront stuff.
Right.
That costs money. That costs all this stuff. Like again, if you're selling coffee, you got to have beans.
Yep.
Right. You got to be able to roast it somehow. Right. But all that LLC, all that stuff, like. It doesn't matter until you have that. And people are like, well, excuse me. People are like, well, I've got to have business cards, right? Because people won't know who I am. Listen, people don't care who you are.
Right. They don't know who you are, right?
Yeah. Trust me, a business card isn't going to let everybody know who you are.
Yeah.
It's just not. Well, I got to have a social media page. Yeah, of course you do. But still, to get people to actually see your social media page, it ain't happening yet, right?
Right.
And so just go out, knock on a door. Would you like some coffee? I have some for sale.
Yep.
And sell the coffee. Now,
that's simple.
Dan goes even further sometimes, and he would almost say, go out, knock on your neighbor's door. Hey, I'm selling coffee. It'll be here in a week. Would you like to buy some coffee? Sure. Here's $20. Now take that $20 and go get that coffee. Right. Like that's how you would say it. Right. And so don't even invest in anything until you actually have that transaction. Right. And then, and he doesn't stop there, and then provide them that coffee. Yeah. Right. When you said you were going to provide it. Right. Right. And that's how you do it. So that's awesome. Great advice. Sell something, get out there, go do it. Ideas are not a business. No. They are not. They're not even a hobby, right? Right. Like they're not. They're just dreams. Yep. And here's the thing. I don't want to be known as a dreamer. I want to be known as a doer. Right. Right. Now, do you have to have dreams to go do? Yes, absolutely. But don't be known as that dreamer who has a bunch of ideas and dreams that never gets anything done. Right. And because then you're going to be broke and miserable. Yep. Right. Yep. And so also, if you want to take from Joe's journey, he didn't quit his job. Nope. He has a full-time job. Yep. And he's running this. Of course, his hope would be at one point, hey, it'd be great if this was full-time, right? That would be awesome. And if all I'm doing is traveling, selling coffee, right? And then at one point, I'm not traveling, someone else is traveling and selling coffee, right? Yeah, that would be fantastic, right? But he didn't just say, you know what, because he has a family, he has children, he has a wife. He didn't say, hey, you know what, I'm just going to go all in and my family's going to starve and they're not going to eat and they're not going to do this, right? No, he said, hey, I'm going to do this. We're going to work at it. We're going to get it built up. And if the Lord allows it, then I can leave my job and do this full time. So that is now, does that put more work on you? Yeah, because you didn't have that 17-year-old for a while. It was you, right? Yep. That was doing it. So you were working, coming home from work, and working again. Yep. Right.
Long time I did that.
A lot of long hours, right? Yep. And now you're working, coming home, and you're checking, right? Yeah. Much. And so it's fantastic to watch it grow. It's fantastic to see it happen. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for actually going out there, creating something, doing it, creating a great product, by the way. It really is. Thanks. And he has great marketing now, by the way. So but thanks for doing that. Thanks for stepping out and really doing it right. So I really appreciate you. Yeah, thanks for having me on the podcast. Hey guys, if you like the show, please like, share, comment. Go check out Squirrelly Joe's online. He's all over social. He's on the web. Go check him out. Message him if you'd like some coffee. They'll ship it right to your door. So check him out online. But as always, guys, we love you. We appreciate you. And we'll talk to you again soon.